I love talking about case studies of different kinds of companies that are bringing different aspects of customer centricity into play. All too often, those examples are B2C companies. So if you think about Harrah's or Tesco, and so many of the examples that are really visible, Amazon, a lot of companies get the impression that, oh, well, I'm a B2B company, I can't do that. Well, that's not true. And in fact, a lot of these ideas really emerge from a B2B setting. And so I'd like to spend just a little bit of time talking about a B2B company, one that I doubt many of you have heard of, a company called Merial. They're a company out of Atlanta, Georgia, and they basically make a lot of veterinary pharmaceutical products. And I had a really nice interactions over several years with a gentleman who ran all marketing for large animals. In other words, he was helping sell antibiotics for cows and horses. His name was Steve Lerner, and he heard me talk about some of these ideas and the CLV models and everything else that I cover. And he said, you know what? This stuff is not only going to work for us, but it's going to work for us in a very unusual way. We're going to transform our sales force using some of these concepts. So instead of rewarding our salespeople on the basis of how much stuff they sold, I mean, that's how it works with every company, right? You sell a lot of stuff, we give you a trip to Tahiti. Instead, let's give salespeople the incentive in a forward-looking basis. So we're going to calculate our CLV for every one of our customers and add that up to say, for the level of our salespeople or our distributors, how much CLV have they created or destroyed from one month to the next? And we're going to reward you. We're going to give you the bonuses on the basis of this future-looking value that you've created. So that if someone makes a purchase from you, great, their CLV goes up. That's terrific. But what if someone just kind of took your call? Or what if someone responded to a direct mail piece? What if someone showed up at a trade show? They didn't necessarily make a purchase. We didn't necessarily extract any dollars out of them right now. But because the relationship is a little bit tighter, because there's a real conversation going on, their CLV has gone up, and we should reward the salesperson for making that possible. So they did this, and it took a long time, because at first they did it on an experimental basis. Let's calculate those CLVs. Let's see if they go up. Let's reward people accordingly. Let's allocate our resources to focus on those customers who would be the best ones for us. At first, the salespeople, the distributors, at first they kind of look at it skeptically and say, oh, it's just those guys in marketing trying something crazy. Not sure it's going to work. But they ran this as an experiment over a period of several years to really show the sales folks that, you know what, we really are helping you identify customers who have future-looking value in them. And look, that value has unlocked itself, so you really should trust us. And so they completely revamped their sales force using this forward-looking CLV metric instead of the backward-looking profitability metric. And it worked beautifully. It was a way for them to raise revenue by a significant percent, despite the fact that they're in a very competitive market with a lot of these branded products going off patent and so on. But for them to raise revenue by something over 10%, with basically no costs associated with it whatsoever, and on a forward-looking basis, recognizing that they've created and they've kind of recognized and locked in all of this future value that will continue to manifest over time. So I just love that idea of, first of all, just a nice B2B example, but also that idea of taking CLV and taking customer centricity and using it in a tactical way in a part of the organization that I wouldn't necessarily be thinking about all the time. And it just shows that if you take some of these ideas and instead of just trying to replicate some of the examples that we've covered, if you think really creatively about them, where else can we do this? How else can we do this? And run those kinds of experiments and start small and build from there and get buy-in throughout the organization, amazing things can happen. And I think Merial is a really good example in that regard.